For today's cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
I've got some kind of ick. Other ick.
Yeah, you caught the mystery ill.
I did. I've actually spoken to professionals today, and they're like, there's something going around.
I don't know what it is.
Right. Body aches. Feel like, almost like having a chill. No fever. Actually, temperature was below, it was 96 something.
But it's like that fever chill.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, but there's no fever.
Yeah.
Just feel like hell. So, but nobody
if your temperature
knows.
is below normal, seriously, at that point, it's like warm bath.
I don't feel cold. The chilling thing, it's not like I'm cold. It's just weird. It's extreme fatigue, and then of course that goes along with the body aches and all that shit. So it's something else that's probably patented.
Yeah.
That's what I figure. Because they had been spraying us pretty heavy there a month, several weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, surprise, surprise, lots of people in this area have the whatever it is. And it's okay. And I will tell you this, not all herbal teas are created equally. I tried a lemon ginger that I had found at the grocery store the other day, and it was just like, I got a warm cup of disappointment.
A warm cup of sad.
Yeah, it was. It was just even, it was like lightly flavored.
Lightly what?
Lightly flavored warm water. That was it.
Isn't that what tea basically is anyway?
No. You've got to realize, that's what I'm saying. And those of us that smoke, it has a tendency to deaden your sense of smell and sense of taste. So that's why you have bold flavors. I will tell you this, that horseradish is wonderful. It will light you up.
Speaking of bold.
But it will help with your sinus issues. If you can endure it.
Just get some wasabi, wasabi, American wasabi. It's the same thing.
It is the same thing.
It's speaking of not good flavors.
He's a cat. The cat decides to perch on him anytime he's sitting still.
I found out that you really, the frequency of pink does not do well with you.
No, I've told you that.
I didn't know.
Did you think I was joking?
I didn't know it was a literal frequency thing. I thought you just didn't like the pink color.
No, it is
I didn't know
frequency.
it was a visceral reaction to it.
Yes, he came back from the Wall of Mart while I stayed in the house with this Barbie pink.
It's iridescent
shit.
Pink organza along with some like darker hot pink, like lace type stuff, fabric, and then a solid hot pink fabric. I want to know, does anyone else that watches us, do any of you know of Angeline? Because I'm trying to make an Angeline doll. Because no one else. I don't know why I'm fixated on her.
I don't know. She's probably going to die.
Literally.
That's what I figure.
I mean, she's 73, so it could happen. And she lives in Hollywood, so it could happen.
Oh, yeah.
But she is an enigma of Hollywood.
Yeah, it's just, Yeah, that she's in her 70s and still pretending that it's the 80s.
Still pretending like it's 1985.
Yeah, that's called delusional. It really is. And it's sad.
And
it's just... But it's talking about, I had a visceral reaction. I have physical reactions to certain frequencies.
Mm-hmm. And Angeline is like an atomic Barbie on steroids. So
she used to be when she's in her 20s, maybe.
Yeah, but it's at this point she's just the grandma.
Sad.
She's the grandma Barbie.
It's sad.
Yeah. Did you just bite me?
And
he just bit me. A foe just bit me. But yeah, I'm trying. Nobody else has made a custom Angeline doll or an Angeline doll in general, and it's like, why not? Why not try?
Or the opposite of that is why?
Why not? Why not?
So it has nothing to do with our topic today.
No, but the intros are usually random anyway,
Yeah.
so it's all right.
I could actually...
It's a little bit of leeway.
I could do the razor fist, fuck you, I was right with this one. Because
Angeline?
No. Well, that I was right on too. Anybody would sit there and go, yeah, she was right. But this about the computers and such changing children's brains.
Yeah.
And I finally found
right.
the research to prove it. And the article comes from, it's funny because the website is called Eurekalert. Like Eureka and alert, and they just, I don't know, it's a nerd mode. And this was a peer-reviewed publication. It was peer-reviewed by Taylor and Francis Group, November 17th of 2023. And children's brains shaped by their time on tech devices, research to date shows. All right, that's sort of, nondescript.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't tell much of anything. It's just...
Then in the article, it says that time spent watching television or playing computer games has measurable and long-term effects on children's brain function, according to a review of 23 years of neuroimaging research, which while showing negative impacts also demonstrates some positive effects.
Well, yeah, you're going to get both the negative and the positive with that. It's just, to what degree?
It was interesting how this was written. And like I said, I'm reading their article. I have not yet gone and read the actual research paper, which I'll probably do that tomorrow.
He got me.
And it says that, however, the researchers stopped short of advocating limits on screen time, which they say can lead to confrontation. Now, they didn't really go in and explain what they meant by confrontation.
Fighting. Arguing.
Well, that's what I normally think of as far as, being confrontative. But... And I have seen videos of these children when people tried to take away those devices.
Oh, they freaked
and
out.
They became very aggressive.
Combative.
That in itself is not good.
No. Is it? But though I do wonder, is it the same thing as if you sat them in front of a TV and they just sat in front of that TV day in and day out? Would it be the same thing?
Possibly. Because both of them have a similar agenda. And it says, instead, they urge policymakers to help parents navigate the digital world by promoting programs which support positive brain development. Don't hand them the devices to begin with.
Yeah.
And it says, the evidence review published today in the peer-reviewed journal Early Education and Development is an analysis of 33 studies which use neuroimaging technology to measure the impact of digital technology on the brains of children under the age of 12. In total, more than 30,000 participants are included. So that's a huge study. So this is a big something. This is not some little blip bullshit something.
Mm-mm.
And it says, in particular, the research finds screen time leads to changes in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Fuck you, I was right. I was right.
Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right.
Which is the base of executive functions such as working memory and the ability to plan or to respond flexibly to situations. It says it also finds impacts on the parietal lobe, which helps us to process touch, pressure, heat, cold, and pain. The temporal lobe, which is important for memory, hearing, and language, and the occipital lobe, which helps us to interpret visual information. So you've got all areas of the brain, basically, that these devices impact.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, that prefrontal lobe, that's the thing that you get that shrinkage there during the teen years of not understanding cause and effect. If I do this, this can happen.
Gen Z parents understand this because we actually did grow up. I'm not a parent, but I've watched a bunch of parents talking about this from my generation. we are the generation that grew up on tech first.
Yes, and you are the ones that are challenged horribly on a lot of ways too.
Yeah, but we have gotten that understanding of what tech does to the brain, and so a lot of us try to regulate child interaction with tech, while millennials, no, those are the iPad kids right there. Millennials just give iPads.
That's because
It's
a lot
like,
of the millennials...
do you not know how to parent? If you know how to parent, you don't put an iPad in front of a child or a phone or anything like that. You actually interact with them rather than trying to distract them.
With a lot of the millennial parents, they also grew up with some of the, with a lot of the tech.
Yeah.
And, so I very much understand as far as that confrontation, because oldest kid, Game Boy, different things like that, you could try to get them. Now, he did do other things. He was involved in sports, and he definitely was involved in marching band and stuff like that. So it's not like he, didn't have outside activities. But some people don't encourage their children. Some people did allow TV to parent their children. Mm-hmm. So therefore, a lot of times it's convenient. Give kid toy so that a parent can go and play with their toy.
Yeah.
How many videos have we seen that, and I think it's perverse, that you've got some man that has an infant on his lap or whatever, so that he's supposedly interacting with the child, which he's not, while he plays video games.
Yeah, that ain't interacting. That you're physically there with the child, but mentally, no, you're clocked out. You're focused on something else.
Absolutely. So that ain't cool. I mean, I'm hoping that's a meme-ish type thing, but I sadly, I would say that is a reality in some households.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're right. It is a reality in households. I knew someone who would distract their child with a phone or an iPad or something like that instead, and they just wanted the game all the time.
Mm-hmm. It says the research team wanted to know how digital activity affected the brain's plasticity or malleability during critical periods of development. It is known that visual development mostly takes place before the age of 8. While the key time of language acquisition is up to 12. So in other words, if you've got a child under the age of 12, don't buy them one of these devices. And it says that they synthesized and evaluated studies on children's digital use and associated brain development published between January 2000 and April of 2023, with the ages of participants ranging from 6 months upwards. Screen-based media were the most commonly used by the participants, followed by games, virtual visual scenes, video viewing and editing, and internet or pad use. And the paper concludes that these early digital experiences are having a significant impact on the shape of children's brains and their functioning. This was deemed as both potentially positive and negative, but mainly more negative. And it says, for example, negative impacts were witnessed in some studies with how screen time influences the brain function required for attention, executive control abilities, inhibitory control, cognitive processes, and functional connectivity. Other studies suggest that higher screen time is associated with lower functional connectivity in brain areas related to language and cognitive control, potentially adversely affecting cognitive development. In other words, it's stunting their brains. And you were asking as far as executive control abilities.
That's not what I was asking.
Oh, give me just a second. Executive control, that's how to think and how to think well. Part of executive control is if I do this, this can happen. Inhibitory control means impulse control.
Okay.
Yeah. So how many of these children actually have ADHD, and how many of them actually have brain differences that has been caused by usage of technology?
I would say a good portion. Good majority of them.
Because now we have got a culture, and everybody's like, what the hell wrong? What the hell's wrong with people these days?
The Gen Alpha is fucked.
No impulse control. You've got all this just absolute madness and chaos in some streets. Could some of these behaviors be attributed to the technology?
Yes.
Because again, we were talking about the poor parenting. Yeah, it all goes together. It's not usually a this or that. It's a this and that. And it says tablet device users were found to have worse brain function and problem-solving tasks. Video gaming and high internet users were found in 4 studies to produce negative changes in brain areas, impacting intelligence scores and brain volume. And general intensive media usage was shown to potentially impact visual processing and higher cognitive function regions. There were 6 studies, however, demonstrating how these digital experiences can positively impact a child's brain functionality, such as one found improved focusing and learning abilities in the frontal lobe of the brain. Meanwhile, another study suggests playing video games can increase cognitive demand, potentially enhancing children's executive functions and cognitive skills. So you've got one out of all these other ones that says something different. Okay, one of these things is not like the others.
Yep.
And it says lead author Dr. Dan Wu of the Education University of Hong Kong has stated that it is imperative for policymakers to develop and execute policies grounded in empirical evidence to safeguard and enhance brain development in children as they navigate the digital era. This could involve offering resources and incentives for the creation and examination of digital interventions aimed at bolstering brain growth in children, end quote. Okay, in other words, turn the shit off.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that China was making law or something like that to minimize the amount of time, screen time. Good. And this is probably why, because a lot of this research was done in China. And I'm sure that they had noticed differences, in their kids and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Every culture has. These are not stupid people. And the fact that they would want to limit the amount of time, and it's like, yeah, what are we doing over here?
Right.
We doing a whole lot of running around chasing our tails. This is what I was telling you yesterday. You've got all these people in the West screeching about the problems, but I'm not hearing many solutions.
Right.
And maybe they're out there and I just don't hear them. But this is a solution right here. And the, of course, the link to the article and subsequent, the article has got as far as the actual research paper where you can, the link to that where you can read the full thing. It'll be in the description box. It is important to identify a problem, or first of all, you have to acknowledge that there is a problem before you can come up with any kind of solution on anything. That's not hard. It didn't used to be deemed as hard. But when you've got, like I said, if you've got a child that is 2, 3, 4 years old and they throw a temper tantrum because you take away a device, all right, you've already got a problem.
Yep. Massive problem.
And the thing is substitution in that. You don't just take away something. You say, give me this and I will give you this. Mm-hmm. And this is how you do this. There's so many truly good educational toys out there. And I can't remember. It wasn't VTech. I don't know what it was. There was some thing that you all had when you were little. And it's like, whether it's the little,
Leapfrog.
CNC toys.
Leapfrog.
You had the things where you punch the button and it would make the noise, and then the child could repeat the noise of whatever animal it was.
Mm-hmm. The CNCs.
Yeah, there's good
those
educational toys out there.
Those like spinny arrow animal things.
Mm-hmm. A box.
But also those leapfrog.
Cardboard box. The leapfrog, and it was probably what I was trying to think of.
The leapfrog
products are really good.
Yeah. Those, not the ones that are not the leapfrog iPads. Don't fucking give those kids those damn things.
It is.
Give them one of those books that has the pen, and when you touch it to the book, it says whatever. That's the type of leapfrog stuff I grew up with. That's the type of leapfrog stuff children should have.
Read to your child. Read to your grandchildren. Whoever.
Yep.
Nothing is going to take the place of personal one-on-one interaction. Nothing.
No.
It takes time. You know? And it's one of those that I understand very much why young people are the ones that have the babies, because the old people, so it's like, damn, we don't have the energy for the babies. Not like that day in and day out, but I can't tell you the number of grandparents raising the grandchildren. That's been going on for a decade or two.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of horrifying.
Yeah, you know what else is horrifying?
That's why you put cats out before we start to record.
But it's not right for the parent to shove all responsibility onto the grandparents.
Right. But even then, what has happened was you had people that did not, for whatever reason, either weren't taught or didn't learn, again, with the cause and the effect. They really do understand what causes babies. There really are solutions to prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so I don't know if it was a matter of people not wanting to speak the truth, that they were afraid that somebody was going to, yell at them? Hell, I used to get paid to be yelled at. And it's like so now we've got a society that is so fucking brainwashed that it's horrifying. And those of us that were not brainwashed, that are sitting back and we're looking at it going, what the hell is going on? And how do we fix it? Yeah. And I still don't have solutions other than turn the damn things off.
I mean, that's the only solution that we know of, that Gen Z knows of.
Now, I will say, as in defense on some of the video games, those can be beneficial. Those can be cathartic, because we hear all these people demonizing it. And at one point, I was one of those until I started doing the research and found out that a lot of times, like I said, it can be cathartic. Just because somebody does whatever in Grand Theft Auto does not mean they're going to go out here and do it in real life.
Unless they're mentally disturbed already.
Well, if they're mentally disturbed, they really shouldn't be playing anything.
You'd be surprised.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's not like you can sit and test somebody before they buy a video game.
But
that's a dystopian nightmare.
Yeah. Games like I'm on observation duty are actually really good for training your brain as far as focusing.
Oh, yeah.
And attention span.
Yes. Yes.
And it teaches you to be aware more of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And to look within your peripheral vision than head on.
Yeah, and it depends on what games you choose.
Mm-hmm.
And even as far as I understand, a lot of the schools are using computers with kids. I don't know whether that's a good thing. I don't know. I think
it's a bad idea if they're above a certain age, like 13.
Mm-hmm.
I think 13 is all right, sort of, kind of. But even then, I'm
not for social media.
I'm not for social media, but for like just teaching them the basics knowledge of this is how you use a computer.
Well, at this point,
you will need to know this at some point for them to do educational stuff on that computer only at that time, basically, game.
we have become so dependent on this technology. I don't even know if we can put the genie back in the bottle on some of that.
God can.
Well, God can definitely. But as far as
put back in the bottle at some point,
it used to be that as far as a reward, it's like, okay, if you finish your work or whatever, your school work, here you get 10 minutes. Which, again, you've got time frame. 10 minutes in kid brain is totally different than 10 minutes in adult brain.
That's why you don't put them in timeout for so long.
Right.
Like 5 minutes is the maximum time that they can handle.
Per how many years? I mean, it goes by years.
Well, little kids, they can only.
Little ones, no. I mean, you don't.
That's like
5 minutes is forever, especially if it's hyperactive.
5 minutes feels like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it is a matter of perception with them, and it's like that's what are the schools? The schools are totally against the nature of children. To sit down, shut up, don't move, don't make noise, stuff like that. If you've got a child that does that, that child is usually sick.
Society in general has gone against the nature of humans.
Yeah. That's where we need to take humanity back. And you start this, like I said, and I'm not saying you have to throw your computers out or anything like that, but be aware of what you're doing with these kids. Also be aware of what has been done to these kids, because you've got millions of them out there with brain damage.
And you have no idea who they are interacting with online.
Absolutely. Or the trauma on that. This is why it starts with the individual, then it goes with families, and then it goes with communities and towns and stuff like that. That is how you make change. But if you've got the information, because there's a lot of people that's like, I want to see it in black and white. Here you go. So that was the final fuck you, I was right. Because I knew this. And it's like, but because I don't have any letters behind my name, I'm going to make up some letters and put behind my name.
I thought you had some letters behind your name.
It was QMHP was what it was.
Okay, that's still letters.
Qualified mental health professional. But
is that not letters?
Since I'm no longer in the official workforce, who knows?
Does it just go away?
I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. The knowledge didn't go away, and I have always, I read and research and learn all the time.
I don't think your credentials are revoked unless some legal action happens. But you have not had any of that.
No.
So I'm pretty sure you still got those letters behind your name.
Like I said, I think that would just basically...
For fuck's sake, you were a mental health counselor.
I was.
An in-home mental health counselor.
I was front lines.
What more do people ask?
It's always something. If it's information they don't want to hear, nothing's ever enough.
Then you're just casting pearls before swine there. Yeah. You've just been like, all right, you think you know everything? Have at it.
Fuck around, find out.
Yeah, fuck around and find out.
And that's exactly what's going on. Final thoughts on this kid?
It causes damage.
Yeah. So we got basically 2 generations coming up on 3 that are brain damaged. What do we do with that?
Oh, Gen Alpha's completely screwed. They're illiterate.
And we pray.
They are
continue to pray.
illiterate. They can't spell restaurant. They don't even got their kneecaps yet, and they're talking like they're big and bad.
They got attitude. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I posted that TikTok. It's like, y'all don't even got your kneecaps yet. So why are you talking? Why are you talking?
Let me tell you something, and this is part of the fuck around and find out. It does not matter how big and bad you think you are, or how bad of a day that you think that you've had. There is always somebody bigger and badder and has had a worse day than you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a matter of compromise. That's a matter of calming yourself down. Do not take your whatever out on somebody else.
You know what I'm going to take out on?
What?
I'm going to take out love, and I'm going to put it...
Absolutely.
I'm going to take out some love on this cat.
empathy and understanding, but that does not mean that you don't call bad behavior what it is.
No, you call it out.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to
see
have
something,
consequences
say something
for it. You have consequences, and that's what we need. Because if you don't, then all you're doing is reinforcing the bad behavior. That's an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you've had experiences with paranormal or supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids.
If y'all have cats, send me pictures of cats.
Oh,
send me the pictures.
And you can email me cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. I know I'm behind on the emails because I feel like hell, but it's all right. I'll be all right. That's your cue.
If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe. And click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all. Have a good. Do you want to say goodbye, Milo? You want to say goodbye?
Know that you all are loved. And it's like, just because we don't have solutions today does not mean that God can't give us solutions tomorrow or in a heartbeat.
Right.
And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.